at least that number of people. We're talking, for the world. And this can be done, because we've done it and beta tested it through the Disclosure Project, through a very well put together and orchestrated, multi-dimensional strategic plan. Most people in the inventing world think that the issue is, gee, if I just had enough money, I could do it. Well, I can cite you all kinds of people who have had tens of millions of dollars, upwards near 100 million, and they were served their head on a platter and have never been able to get their technologies out. On the other hand, if you have all the money in the world, there's a family I know that have three $250 million environmental trusts, and they're crying every day the world is going to hell in a handbasket because we're burning up the biosphere and destroying the oceans. You got to hook up the funding people with the technology, and the third component, which is my role, is the strategic leadership to bring together the forces and the force of protection around this whole process and bring it out. That's the purpose of Arrow. We are dedicated to doing this, and we have a track record that we have been able to do it and live to tell the tale. Many years ago, I had a man who was high up in naval intelligence come up to me after a talk that I gave, and the first words out of his mouth were, "I don't know why you're not dead yet." And I said, "Well, I do. And I know why. Because we did not step onto this stage until we had the means to do it safely." And so what we want to do is extend that umbrella to people who have these technologies and provide them with the funding, but more importantly the strategic support and the network, so that it is not another tree that fell in the woods that nobody heard. Now, 100 years of technological development, there have been, I would wager, several thousand, and I'm being honest, and when I say several thousand scientists and engineers and inventors who have discovered, if you will, from the knowledge that's there in human awareness and in the greater consciousness, if you will, the mind of God, the secrets of the universe and these wondrous sciences. But one after another, they have stepped into this minefield that they didn't know was there. These hidden mines, and have been taken down one by one by one. I'm not saying this to disgust anyone or to scare anyone or depress anyone. It's to say that that's there. Because there's enormous corrupting influence when you're talking about the kind of money and the kind of power that does not want an energy device that extracts energy from the quantum vacuum flux field, or some call it zero-point energy field. And remember, every cubic centimeter of space in this room has enough energy to run the Earth for a day. I'm understating it. It's actually infinite. And the point is to tap it and to rectify it and to get it to run this house with real power is an engineering and science challenge which has actually been met by the aggregate people in this room who know how to do it. And you'll be hearing from them. I'm just a country doctor from Virginia. But my job is to pull together the resources and provide both the funding support but also the strategic support so they can do it. And I don't think that we can overlook the necessity of having these people all working together. So there's synergy in the operation, but that they're plugged into a system so that they can float above that minefield. We will deactivate it as we float over it. Because if you have, and this is just sort of a quick list of the resources that are in our network, senior ambassadors with major countries who are ready to step forward with us on the stage of the National Press Club or at the National Science Foundation as these things are unveiled to the public massively. And you have people who have been Nobel Prize winners, and then you have people who are very well known in society in the pop culture and what have you. You pull all these elements together and you move this forward. Because if there are hundreds of millions of people who know about the system or systems, it's not going to be the tree that fell in the woods that no one heard. And here's the tragedy. Most of these technologies that have been developed from Tesla's genius on and maybe some before Tesla, have been the tree that fell in the woods that they took into the grave with them. And what we need to do is set up a dynamic where we stop doing the same thing over and over again, because it's been done for 100 years. Now we need to see that this is something that can be done. We can achieve this within the next coming few months and years, so that our civilization transforms from a carbon-based, cannibalistic species that's destroying a Gaia, Mother Earth, to one that has sustainability, the elimination of poverty, the freedom from our oil addiction, quoting an occupant of the White House near here, and moves our civilization into another order of functioning. This is not pie in the sky. This is attainable with the brain trust that's in this house right now. And we have to identify clean sources of funding, clean sources of strategic networks, which is what we put together, and the best scientists to work together. Because in the conversations that have happened over the last 24 hours, we have found that one scientist has one component and another has another, and you put them together, and it's an order of magnitude ready to go. And so this has never been done. What Aero wants to do is to, in our initial phase of around $43 million, is to put together a program, that would, like a campus. Xerox did it at Menlo Park. It's been done before on other technologies, where the inventors and the researchers are supported, properly funded, but also, from the get-go, strategically protected. Let me explain the difference between strategic and tactical protection. It's very important to understand this, because the threat matrix that has been stopping these technologies from coming forward is formidable. It is not to be taken lightly. And if you don't believe it's there, step into it and you'll find out it's the mother of all buzzsaws. And been there and done it. I've had to go through the buzzsaw several times. I'm here to tell the tale. But if you look at it, tactical security would be having a security system on this house and some people and armed guards. So that's not a big deal. I mean, that's tactical. Strategic security is having an entire system in place that protects against any action being taken against an entity, whether it's a corporation or an inventor, in the first place. And what do I mean by that? If you put a system of protection and a strategic plan around a technology, let's say that there's a motor here and it'll run this house, it's 20 kilowatts, closed loop, free energy, quote unquote, although it's a terrible term. Free from the point of view you're not paying the power company, let's leave it that. And if this is happening and you stand that up, well, if you don't have enough people in the masses out here who know about it, it's going to be easily taken down, because the obscurity of it is its death knell. Now, everyone thinks, I'm going to build a better mousetrap and the world will be the path to my door. Not in this case. Somebody else is going to beat that path to the door, and it isn't going to be the good world. It's going to be this classified world and this shadowy world of projects that have stopped these technologies from being disclosed to the public. And so we have to learn from this 100-year history. And if we do, then we'll be able to move forward safely and quickly. Now, the other part of this strategic concept is that the 6 billion people on Earth are your vanguard. They love you. They want these technologies. Bubba, with his pickup truck, where he's spending $80 to fill it up with F-150 pickup truck. He wants some way of running that vehicle without paying $80 a fill-up. Even if he doesn't care about the environment. Even if he's a global warming denier on the payroll of ExxonMobil, all right? Through the back door, a scientist. Most people do not want to spend thousands of dollars a year for heating, cooling, electricity, and their vehicles. And they don't need to. Because the amount of energy that's available through these systems is boundless. And it will provide this means to move our society forward.